Hello and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that believes in buy one, get one free. You came here for a little dose of Cody and you're also getting a hearty helping of Zac. Ladies and gentlemen, today Zac and I are going to take a look at one of our favorite games of all time, Battlestar Galactica. Zac, was I misrepresenting your views when I said one of our favorite games of all time?
Not at all. You know, it's a time of year, at the end of the year, you've got top fives and top tens, and if I'm going to say my top five games of all time, Battlestar Galactica is on there, probably around the 3 spot. It's definitely one of my all-time, my favorite game based on an IP, and one of my favorite games of all time.
It is my, I would agree, it's my favorite game based on an IP, and it is my number 3 of all time as well. Mm-hmm. We love Battlestar Galactica. Now, we reviewed Battlestar Galactica. It was the second review we did back in 2014. And we, of course, have been playing it before then as well. And we just played a couple games recently, and we thought we'd come back with our thoughts on this game. Now, I have to say, I probably played the game a lot more than Zac has over the years, but Zac's played it a lot. We played a lot with Zac, but you hadn't played it in a while. You hadn't played it while I was gone.
No, it had been a few years since I'd actually played it again.
So I was in Texas for 3 years, and you didn't play it. But I played it that year before I left. I probably played it, I'm not fooling, 6 or 7 times that year.
Oh, yeah.
And then I played it a few times down there in Texas with my friend Chris and Ken and some of those guys, and then we played it a couple of times since I've been back. It's just a fantastic game, and it is, of course, out of print, unfortunately. We'll talk more about that later. But so let me just ask you right off the bat, what do you like about the game?
Well, you know, I'm a sucker for a good hidden treasure game, as you know.
You love the Secret Hitler.
I like that, like the Secret Hitler, Betrayal, kind of the same type of thing. I like those one of my favorite games also. But I love the hidden trader aspect, primarily because, well, let me back up just a little bit. You play games to, just mess around with your friends and to have a good time, and no game evokes emotion like a good Battlestar Galactica. And that's probably my favorite part of the whole game. It's not just a passive game. You're accusing everybody. There's paranoia. You're blaming somebody because you're still ticked about 3 months ago. You think he owes you $5, and you're bringing that into the game. I mean, it's all that wrapped into it is really what I like about it. I mean, that aside from just the mechanic of it is very very good. But I know that's what I like about it.
Now, you, like I, were a big fan of the Battlestar Galactica TV show.
Yeah.
And we've both said this before, that no game better captures the IP theme than Battlestar Galactica. It does it so well. And I'd say maybe Star Wars Rebellion is a second, but even then I'd say it's probably a distant second.
Yeah.
Because Battlestar Galactica the whole you watch the show Battlestar Galactica, and the whole thing is just about paranoia. Mm-hmm. It's just constant paranoia, and that's what the game gives you, is this constant paranoia. I've had some experiences, but let me ask you: do you think I don't know if you've done this, but do you think you could play this game with somebody? Actually, I know you have. Do you think you can play this game with somebody who hasn't watched the show and they would enjoy it as much?
I think they can, and I do. I think that's another testament to how great the game is I think they can enjoy it as much. Both times, well, I know the last time we played with 2 people who had never seen the game, mm-hmm. and one in particular loved it. He thought it was great, but you can enjoy it, but you're still going to enjoy it even more with the knowledge of being a fan of the show. But again, you don't have to know the show. It's that good of a game.
What is there? So I know you had one that you played last time, but is there a specific character you enjoy playing more than any other?
I discovered Rosalind recently.
Yeah.
Which I'd never played Rosalind. I always played. I want to say I played a pilot. I think he usually played
Apollo.
Starbuck. No, the bad guy. Baltar. Yeah,
okay.
Baltar. I think I usually play Baltar because he had that great thing where you can look at someone's card at one point.
That's true, but everybody suspects him because he gets 2 cards.
Because he gets 2 cards, so he's more suspicious.
That's right.
But that's the thing. It's very each game is a different experience. The pilots are different than the admiral, who's different than the political leaders, who's different than. I mean, it's another thing that adds to the replay of it, I think.
And Rosalind's got that great deal where she can look at 2 crisis cards and pick one.
Yeah, that's good. You have to have somebody playing a Rosalind.
Which is helpful if you're humans or Cylons.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
As we found out.
Yeah.
Now, also, because whenever I play, I always try to pick either the the president or the admiral. So I played Rosalind a lot.
Yeah.
I won a game once with Rosalind when I was secretly a Cylon. Nobody suspected I was a Cylon. We were down to like 2 morale. Somebody was already outed as a Cylon, but I was still secret. And I had everybody convinced I was kosher. And we got one of those President Chooses cards, and it was like, do this or lose 2 morale. So I said, lose 2 morale. and I tanked it, and I won that way.
Freaks out.
Oh, and they were so mad at me.
Yeah.
But I either do that or I like to play the Admiral. Now, either with Adama or with Kane, if we're playing with that expansion. But I really like those roles, and I think those roles bring something really fun into it, because the Admiral can use the nukes, and the Admiral gets to choose where you're going, and that is so crucial. You can really tank a game if you're not doing that right.
Oh yeah.
So I like that, and I just want to point out too, if you're gonna, if you're playing this game, there's an app I've got that can, third-party app that actually builds your loyalty deck, which I won't play without because I always screw it up unless I use that. So because I don't know, it's still confusing to me reading the rules sometimes.
Yeah.
So I always do it just off of the app, but that's fun. Okay, so those are some of the best things. I want to take a minute now. I want to ask you about. Give me 2 or 3 briefly. Some of your best experiences playing this game.
Let's see. Well, that last time we played it, but I remember the first time we played it.
Yeah.
I think that was at Sean's, right?
Yeah, it was when Sean was in the apartment.
Yeah, Sean was in the apartment. That first time we played it, we were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're playing here." It was just so perfect.
It just blew us away.
It blew us away. And the Sean we're talking about is my brother, actually. And my favorite thing in this game didn't happen as much last time we played, but those first few games, watching Cody and my brother just accuse each other, just yelling at each other, and they don't trust each other because of games that happened decades ago. That happened years ago. There's some hard feelings there, and they take it out on each other in games like this. So that's one of my best experiences, is watching you, my brother, just accuse the other one and just go back and forth. And I remember that one time we played at another friends of ours, Stan's, that one time.
Yeah, played the game of Stan's.
And a friend of ours, and it was just first we played it twice because one guy won in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Darren had some weird thing, and we had one of our dials just kind of really quickly started getting low, and we couldn't control it. And then he just had something that tanked us really early, so we ended up playing it again.
What just happened? But
we were seriously probably not even a half an hour into it.
Yeah. But the last time we played, it was you and me, my brother and his son, and my son, and a friend of my son's. It was kind of family and friends, and it was fun.
That was, and tell us what happened with that last game.
Oh gosh, everyone thought I was a Cylon. I tried kissing. It was pretty obvious that you weren't a Cylon in the first round, so I was trying to kiss up to you the whole time. That backfired on me
because I thought he was a Cylon.
I thought I was a Cylon, and it was totally obvious that you weren't a Cylon. We were able to do the math. Sometimes you can do that on that game. But then I became a Cylon the second time, and it was fun. And I was Rosalind, and then it became very obvious I was a Cylon. I didn't out myself, but everyone knew I was a Cylon. Yet you weren't getting rid of me. You weren't putting me in the brig. You weren't fighting, and so I was able to just wreak all kinds of havoc.
We couldn't. We kept trying, but we couldn't.
The way it worked, you had Sean, who was the other Cylon, and then his son, who wasn't. And so Sean would do something that his son would have to fix, so he couldn't focus on me.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I could. And then we had that great moment where I almost.
Now Sean's a revealed Cylon. There's 4. I was the Admiral. 4 of us were revealed. We took the presidency away from you.
Away from me.
But you were still on the ship, and we couldn't put you in the brig, and you weren't killing yourself so you could go to the resurrection ship.
Mm-hmm. And here I am. All of a sudden, I look. I see where the population. It was the population, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we can jump.
Yeah.
And so I went to the HTL drive.
If he'd rolled, what was it? If you rolled, it was an 8-sided die on a roll of 1 to 6. We would have lost our population, ended the game. He rolls a 7 or 8, we're clear.
I rolled an 8.
He rolls a hard 8.
At that moment, I knew the game was over.
And we had about another, and that got us our 8 steps. So we had one more jump. We were able to pull it out, and just barely we won the game. Cylons were foiled.
That was fun, but that's the thing. Is the thing. I love hidden trader games. We talked about Secret Hitler, we talked about some of those, and I thought for the most part, Secret Trader games are the most fun when you're the Hidden Trader games are the most fun when you're the Hidden Trader.
Oh, great! Yeah, absolutely.
But Battlestar Galactica, I think, is equally as fun if you're not a Cylon. I really do.
I can see that.
To me, I think there's so much there. And
well, let me put it.
The paranoia, I think, is almost as fan.
I think in the early game, it's maybe more fun to be the Hidden Trader.
Yeah.
But by the end,
if
the humans are still got a shot, then I think it's maybe even a little bit more fun to be the human.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not one of those. Oh, dang it! I'm not the Cylon, so I'll just suffer through this game for the next 2 hours.
I remember the first time I played the game with George and Holly. We were at SaltCon a few years ago, and Holly and I were kind of trying to read the cards.
Yeah,
and we both kind of read the cards wrong, so we were convinced each other was a Cylon. Neither of us were, and the whole game we're at each other's throats. And of course, the Cylons win because we couldn't cooperate. We couldn't trust each other.
That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes trust when you don't think you can.
I know. I got my friend Ken down in Texas. He and I played this game maybe half a dozen times, right?
Yeah.
And he would constantly convince me he was another human. So I was always trusting him every game.
Yeah.
And he was always a Cylon. And it always and he's like the only guy that's ever done that. Because I'm so suspicious, and to toot my own horn, I'm good at reading people.
Yeah.
And I could not read him. He convinced me every time, and he screwed me every time.
That's fun.
So yeah, it is.
That's what that game is. And sometimes you get super hard feelings about it afterwards, but you get over it.
Oh, of course you do. Of course you do.
Yeah.
So let's move on to a controversial topic.
Oh, I think I know where you're going to.
And that is the expansions.
Yes.
Now, let me just say, I've got all the expansions, and one of the nice things about the expansions is they're modular. You don't have to play with them all. Mm-hmm. There's things you can play with, or things that you cannot play with. But you, I think, typically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you would just as soon play with just the base game.
In my own humble opinion, I believe every expansion and every aspect of every expansion is a cash grab and does nothing to better the game. Even the Pegasus
really
does nothing to better the core game. And this is one of the only games I'd say about expansions. Expansions can improve and give you more options, more characters, but to me the expansions, especially when they add stuff to the decks and the cards that you play, it's just I hate the expansions. I want to play just the core game every time.
I see, and I disagree. First of all, I like this quote unquote stuff, the components that come in all the expansions. Yeah. I like those a lot. There's a lot of the expansion rules I've never played with. I kind of actually have been reading up a little bit on the Mutineers. If you just play that, because we kind of thought we were playing that, but we didn't really play it right. That's one I wouldn't mind trying at some point. I've heard people too say it's pretty good. But when I play, I like to play with the Pegasus. I like to play with pretty much all the available characters. And
if there's anything good about the expansions, it's the additional characters.
And I like, and I got to tell you, so we played not this last time, but the time before, we had 7 people, and for the very first time, we played with Cylon leaders. I was a Cylon leader.
Yeah.
And I started out being ho-hum about it, but as the game went on, it got really cool, and I had the hidden agenda, and so I actually wouldn't mind playing with a Cylon leader again. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's good stuff there. I disagree with you on the cash grab. I think they legitimately, maybe the Daybreak one, but I don't know. I haven't played those Mutineers again. Well, again, I don't think when we had that stuff in there, we weren't playing it right.
Yeah.
So,
but it really watered down the game.
I think the problem is it takes you. It's almost like learning a whole new game in some respects, But I wouldn't mind trying some of these avenues at some point. But to your point, and you've said this before with the base game, that it's such a testament to how good it is that you feel like it doesn't need anything to be added to it.
No, it's 7 or 8 more brushstrokes on the Mona Lisa is what I think the expansions are. In my own, I'd rather play with the expansions than not play it at all.
Sure,
I mean, it doesn't take away from the game that much. It's just for me, base game.
You're fine with it.
I'm fine. I don't need the expansions.
Yeah. So no, that's very cool. Like I say, and part of me is just a completist too, but I really like those components. I like having the models of the base stars. I like having the little figures move along the Cylon track instead of the cardboard. I like a lot of those things too, quite a bit. Okay, so we both had just tremendous experiences playing this game. We absolutely both love it. One of the big problems, and I mentioned this a minute ago, though, is the game is out of print. Now, the TV show's been off the air since, 15 years now or something like that?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
When did it go off the air? Anyway.
Well, it was early 2000s, so it could have been about 07, 08 maybe.
Yeah, so it was a long time.
Yeah.
So it's been off the air, and so, of course, Fantasy Flight stopped selling it because I guess it didn't have the tie-in to buy it, which is a shame because it's such a good game on its own, right? It's such a, like you say, you think it would stand up even without the TV show. Now, there's a rumor out there that I've heard, I have no idea whether or not this is true, that Fantasy Flight is developing a new kind of Arkham Cthulhu-based version of this. Now, I'll tell you this right now. When that game comes out, I will get it, and I will play it. And I may very well enjoy it.
Yeah.
I may enjoy it a lot. I can't imagine enjoying it as much as Battlestar, just because of the IP, you know?
Yeah. No. There's so much that goes into making a game enjoyable. And a lot of it is the stories you have to tell, the experience you have at the time. And with this Battlestar, we started playing it. That was our favorite show, I think. At least everyone was on our top 3 when it came out. We were all Battlestar. And so to have that come along at that time, yeah.
It was fantastic. Now, a few years ago, Fantasy Flight kind of made a game that I think they were trying to make like the new Battlestar Galactica, which was New Angeles, which you played.
That's not a bad game.
And it's not a bad game.
No, it's not a bad game.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of really cool things going for it. I particularly like how you you're not necessarily trying. You're not necessarily trying to beat all of the other players. You're just trying to beat one specific player, right? And I like that aspect. And there could only be you can have multiple winners, but there's always be at least one loser. There's so much about that game I liked, but and I'll play it and I'll have fun with it. I still got it, but it doesn't hold a candle to Battlestar Galactica.
No,
you know.
No.
Sorry, somebody's texting me. But I really, really like. I think Battlestar Galactica it's one of those magical games that just captured so well the theme and the mechanics, and dare I say, just kind of a spirit of fun that a lot of games reach for, but maybe don't quite connect with.
No, I mean when you talk about those, when you go back to those stories, you talk about, remember we played this game and this happened and this. Battlestar Galactica is one of those more than any other game we play.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It evokes so much emotion.
I couldn't agree more. It is, like I say, my third favorite game of all time. I would never pass up a chance to play this game. If somebody's playing it, say, you want to play it? I'm like, heck yes. I'll be there. All right. Well, I think, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's great.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this episode of TDG Replay for Battlestar Galactica. Stay tuned. We'll try to do some more of these. Let us know if you like these kinds of discussions about some of our favorite past games, and we'll try to make more of them if you think that's well. And if you don't like it, we'll try to make more of them anyway, and I don't care. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us for The Discriminating Gamer. I am Cody. With me as always is
Zach.
And please remember that under absolutely no circumstances should you take any wooden nickels, unless of course you actually want a wooden nickel. Bye-bye now.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. Cylon sneaking across the galaxy. Cobalt is a fallacy. We've been robbed. That's right. We're trying to find a new home, but we are not all alone. Somebody's a skin job. We are fighting heavy raiders. Somebody's a traitor. We get attacked. We need food and population to save our nation. What the frick? Someone is a sat on your dick. So we better just throw everybody here in a brick. Someone is a sign on your dick. So we're just gonna throw everybody here in a brick.
Play what you can. Play what you
Those
can.
are clothes you have.
You guys are gonna hate me no matter which one of these I choose.
Because you're a silent?
Because I am not a Cylon. I hate this game so bad. I hate this game so bad. Because I'm not a Cylon. But it's like I can't even say it without a straight face. Alright.
4 to 8, he shoots at us. He hits us. He hits a shit. We got one more.
Play this card to add +2 to the roll.
I'm helping. That's one card. Wait, I'm not done.
So put a blue card in now that screws us.
I'm not going to put a blue card in.
He's gonna put a red one.
We've gone over this several times.
Stand silent from the
We go
beginning.
to FTL.
So what is this skill check for?
This is to get me out of the break.
Okay.
So you guys are all dicks. Did you put that in, Cody?
What?
Did you put this red one in? We have 20.
No, we have 18 because that was 9. We have 18.
0.
Interesting. Only Cylons would have put that in.
4,
I didn't contribute any cards. How did that work?
7. Oh, 8, 9, 10, I'm out!
So
looks guilty.
I'm a little devil.
The stink eye. You flashed me the stink eye.
I gave you the stink guy.
You gave me the stink
I gave you
eye
the stink guy.
a lot.
All right, so we got to get a 6 or better.
Yes!
Good job. Nope.
Jump. Good.
I think that the two Silents have already contacted each other via text on their phones.
that's more nefarious than even I would
My
think.
phone's on the table.
Damn it.
The thing is, you've been indignant this whole time, but when have you really come through for Galactica?
I have come through on every turn because I have only used cards that help people, like I'm going to do right now. I'm helping out.
Ooh, what the heck?
We're all dead.
So, wow. Wow. So that's the game.
Everybody, great game.